Hey everyone, Colin once again, and welcome back to another movie review, and once again back to the Madagascar franchise, and now moving on to the last film in the franchise, well, as of right now, until the fourth one um, will come out within a few years if it gets a release date, But now, but as of right now, this is the last one, though, but not the last one, but for now, though, but Penguins of Madagascar. Penguins of Madagascar was released on a Thanksgiving weekend of November in last year, 2014. And the fourth entry in the Madagascar films, and it's the spin-off series, of course, with the Penguins, obviously, but it's not related to the TV show, though, the Nickelodeon TV show. And I like the film, and I put this in my I think it was my third favorite film of 2014. My top three, of course, was my favorite film was How to Train Your Dragon 2, and then number 2 was John Wick, because John Wick was the best live action version of the year, But I remember I put this at did put this at number 3, And I enjoy Penguins of Madagascar. My favorite of the franchise is still the third one, Madagascar 3, Europe's Most Wanted. But I like Penguins of Madagascar, and Eric Darnell comes back to direct it, but not the other co-director, Tom McGrath, who also voices Skipper. He doesn't come back as co-directing though. So another guy named Simon J. Smith comes in as the co-director. The second director of the film. Now, when the film came out, it was originally going to be released on May 27th, of this year, 2015, but it got switched out with the other DreamWorks animated film Home, which that was supposed to come out on November 26th of 2014. But they decided to switch the films around on those release dates. So Penguins took the release of November 26th, 2014. Then Home got March 27th, 2015. And the film came out. I think I remember I did also a vlog. The film opened up at number 2. During the Thanksgiving weekend, because of on the second weekend, the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1 was number 1 again, and this opened up at number 2 with a disappointing 23 million, on the opening weekend, which is a lot much lower than the previous Madagascar film opening debuts. Like first Madagascar. It did open up number 1 on the first weekend, though, but it made like 47 million on the opening weekend, the first film. And the second film made about 62 or 65 million on opening weekend, and then number 3 made 60 million. But this one made a disappointing debut, with just I think it was 23 million. No, it was 25 million. Yeah, 25 million. I did a video of that, and it was a disappointing opening. Same thing I did with How to Train Your Dragon 2, which also had another disappointing opening, which I expected to have much more bigger openings, But yeah, it was the same thing with the Penguins of Madagascar, And this and the film didn't do well domestically, in the US. It didn't do well at the box office in the US. It had a budget of 132 million, but domestically it made 83 million. But it did well overseas. Overall worldwide made 373 million. Worldwide, but so it did, with help of with the good performance that it did overseas, though. But it This film flopped disappointingly in the U.S. with just 83 million on a budget of 132 million. And this film, the people say like online, this film falls in the category of underperforming DreamWorks animated films like Mr. Peabody and Sherman, Rise of the Guardians, and there was another DreamWorks animated film that didn't have. Oh, and Turbo. Yeah, the Turbo didn't do well domestically either. You know, and the same thing with Rise of the Guardians as well, and Mr. Peabody and Sherman. All those DreamWorks animated films didn't do well domestically. You know, which failed to make up its budgets in the U.S. You know, because yeah, and this fell in the same category, sadly. You know, but beside all that, I do enjoy the film, and it it came out. It had positive reviews. You know, it has a 6.8 on IMDb. It has a 72% on Rotten Tomatoes. You know, which is the second this is the second highest rated on Rotten Tomatoes in the Madagascar films. The first one, the highest one on Rotten Tomatoes is still the number 3, which was 79%. You know, and number 3 still is the highest rated one on IMDb as well. You know, this has a 6.8. I think it was also this was on the same rating as the first film. You know, I think it was like a 6.8. I think it was. So yeah. But the voice cast do good, you know. The same voices of the Penguins, you know. Tom McGrath, the co-director of the first 3 Madagascar films, comes back as Skipper, you know. The other same voice actors for the other ones, Chris Miller as Kowalski, Christopher Nines as Private, and also co-director Conrad Vernon. All voices Rico as well. And other additional voice cast members, Benedict Cumberbatch voice as Classified the Wolf, Peter Stormare voice as Corporal the Polar Bear, and Ken Jeong, how it's pronounced his last name, Ken Jeong, you know, from the Hangover films and Transformers 3, you know, he voices Short Fuse, the little seal there. Annet Mahendru, I forgot how her last name is pronounced. Mahendru, sorry if I mispronounced it though. As Eva, there's the snow owl, and John Malkovich as Dave, the octopus. And the film, when it opens up, like a little bit, like a slight bit of a prequel when the penguins in the Antarctica, when they were young, you know, as little chicks, you know, they see an egg roll, you know, which of course that's Private's egg, you know, which is Skipper, Kowalski, and Rico, you know, they see the egg rolling, they want to go, they ask like, why don't someone goes and, because all the penguins are filing a line, you know. Why doesn't someone go get? But it's our nature. Well, all we do is act cute and cuddly, you know. So he goes, I defy nature, you know. So they go after it. They have it lands on this old ship. They get a fight with some leopard seals, you know. They rescue the egg, and then the egg hatches, which Private comes out, you know, and says, "Oh, you my family." And it's like, you don't have a family, and we're all gonna die, you know. But Skipper Kirk says that's not true, you know, and so they're wondering what's out there for them. It's like, I forget what it was, like adventure or something like that though. But and then fast forward to the present day, which is directly after. It takes place after Madagascar 3. They're still at the circus, and you hear the music playing Afro Circus, and I like to move it, and you see the shadows of our 4 main characters, Alex, Marty, Melvin, and Gloria. You don't see them appear there. You don't see them appear, but you see a cameo appearance as the shadow on the curtains, you know. They're dancing to the music, and the penguins, they're getting tired of hearing that song, you know, so they blast themselves out of the cannon, and which the circus is performing in Kentucky because they're heading straight to Fort Knox. Yeah, Fort Knox. So they land there, and they, of course, the ways, their ways, they get into Fort Knox, which the joke was they thought they were gonna break in, they're gonna look at the gold, but it turns out the joke is they're really in the way in the break room, the break room. There's a vending machine with a whole bunch of cheesy puffs named like right there, cheesy dibbles, which Private likes. Then the vending machine, comes to life, which isn't has tentacles. They all take the penguins, and they get shipped out. They get shipped out into a submarine, and they're in, which is in Venice, Italy. Um, so they break out of the cage, and which they're full of because because they eat so much of the cheesy dibbles. And Private, sees a button. He's like, oh, a button. They go down, and then Private hits another button and bring this big machine in with like was a death ray. And I was like, oh, another button. It's like, no. And then they see something drip, and then which they first saw was a human named Dr. Octavius Bryan, and which turns out it's Dave the Octopus, voiced by John Malkovich, which he remembers them, but the first they don't remember him. So we get a flashback, that Dave was an octopus at the attraction at the New York City Zoo, where our four main characters from the Madagascar films were from. So you get a flashback back at the zoo, which Dave was he was like the main attraction until them, as when they were chicks, they showed up. It's like the smile and wave boys, So no one wanted him. He got shipped from aquarium to aquarium. Nobody wanted him because all the penguins were stealing everywhere he went. Penguins were stealing the show, So that's why he wants to get revenge, So he creates this green stuff called the Medusa serum, which they was going to destroy them, And they have all these other he has other henchmen, other octopuses, and also like Rico, he like gobbles up all his entire snow globe collection, and he also gobbles up that little container of the Medusa serum that he had, and they escape, like, we spray the cheesy dibble mist, that's like, oh, the cheese, it burns, So they escape, and they get a chase through the Benison streets, through the canal, and other octopus henchmen chase after them, and they don't speak English, the octopus, it's literally, they speak like this, like babbling lip, that's how they speak, literally. Although really, that's how, if you do this, that's literally how they speak. All other animals they speak by, because these, well, not all animals speak English, I guess, but, so they chase them to the streets, and they get cornered, which I thought was a chase scene. Well, do I say that was that kind of a chase scene better than the chase scene at the beginning of Madagascar 3? When Dubois and her man was chasing after them in that supercar, I don't know. I wouldn't say though. It's all good chase scenes, But they get cornered, and they thought they said he has a plan though. But then our other four spy animals, they take care of the henchmen, and they take them off from their plane, and the penguins say, who are you, and Classified, voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch, which he also like have like I remember like a video, he was like on an interview show, and he like they found it funny because he couldn't say that, because Benedict Cumberbatch said that he couldn't say the word penguins, right? He kept calling them penguins, pen wings, wings at the end, penguins, I thought it was kind of a funny thing, he couldn't say the word penguins, right? So he kept on saying penguins, you can hear that as he's saying that in the show in the film, you know. He said he pronounced like mispronounced their name the name wrong a couple times, you know. So they take him to like, the secret headquarters inside this iceberg, you know, had like all those super jets, you know, all their whatever stuff, the fancy gadgets and stuff, you know, and they explain who Dr. Octavius Bryan is, which is Dave is disguised as a human, you know. So, which is like Dave an octopus, you know, and it's like classified, he like covers up like an animal which she thought was Dave, which was a sheep, you know, it's like release the sheep, you know, they kick out the sheep, which looks like that's the same looking sheep from the How to Train Your Dragon films, you know, the exact same design of the sheep, you know. So yeah, to see, always wonder, you know, just like you know, like the Marvel universe, you know, how all the films connect, you know. I always wonder if the same thing with the DreamWorks animated films, if they're in the same universe, you know, because when they kick out that sheep, that's the same exact design of the sheep, you know. It's just for maybe it's the same universe, or just for you know, what's that word, just for laughs, I don't know, but I've always wondered about that though, but who knows. So then Dave hacks into their system and puts himself on the screen, and as you saw in the trailer, you know, it was like, where's the sound? You know, Dave, your microphone is not on. Click on the button with a picture of the microphone. Every time a villain calls, this happens, you know. So annoying. Every time. Oh, that's like talking to my parents, you know. So, he explains that they thought it was over because he had the syrup, but he shows them there's a much bigger container of Medusa's serum, you know. So he shows them that, and then hangs up on him, which hits the wrong button. It's like, wait, is this the right button, you know? And whatever. So they want to take on the Classified and the others. They want to try to take on Dave alone without the Penguin's help, you know. So like tranquilize him, puts him to sleep, you know, puts him in a box, which they said was gonna put him in one of the safe houses, you know. And of course, they put him on the plane. Of course, right on the box where they're going to is shipped to Madagascar, you know. Which I think, I know that sometimes they overuse some of the same things, you know, like they overuse certain jokes, you know. Like I was fine how they did at the ending of Madagascar 3 when Dubois and her men were shipped in the exact same looking crates where Alex and his group were in, and it shows them shipped to Madagascar. That joke was fine, you know, at the ending of the film. But even though I don't mind seeing the Madagascar logo on it, though. But sometimes when franchises have certain run-on jokes, they tend to overuse it, you know, and it gets dull really quickly, you know. But seeing that the ship to Madagascar on the box, you know, I didn't mind it, but at the same time I was like, oh, okay, you can. Well, I just hope they don't do this again, otherwise it's gonna get very, very boring, you know. One time, like as I say, one time was enough, you know. Don't need to do it again, you know. But they get out and they Skipper, you know, opens up the hatch, you know. It's like, I make my own plans, and it's like, Kowalski's like, very, very good, Skipper. We seem to be what was that like? We seem to be flightless, you know, how he said. He's like, and Skipper's like, well, got caught up in the moment. Well, hindsight is 20/20, you know. So they try to figure out how a better way to land, which they land on a plane, they get swiped down, they land another plane, which is funny. It's like what type of metal in a plane that they crashed through, you know? It was like I made a sheet metal, you know, because they broke through the roof of that plane very easily, you know. But whatever. Something like that, though, you know, it's just well, with an anime film, you could do anything with it, defy laws of physics or stuff like that, you know. Oh, but that would be ridiculous if they did in a live-action film, you know. That would be virtually impossible like that, you know. So they figure out another way to land. So they use Rico to pump air into this one thing, which is a big bouncy house, you know. And it's like, well, we know what to do next, you know, which is bounce on it, you know. So they have to figure out what location The Dave's gonna strike next because he's planning on removing all, kidnapping all the penguins, you know, and which they first they thought they were in Dublin, Ireland, which they're in Shanghai, China, you know, and they see on the news, or first before that, Skipper sees they thought was an octopus, which he starts slapping, and it's like, close, like, sir, that's a baby squid, you know. Um, then you see on the news all the penguins are missing, and they wonder what's the connection. And then Rico barfs up all Dave's snow globe collection, which indicates he's kidnapping all the penguins at each aquarium that he got kicked out of, you know. So but he hasn't been to the Shanghai aquarium yet, and so that's their next plan. They plan to set a trap there for Dave. And as they get there, Skipper wants Private, which recently he feels like kind of neglected because Skipper keeps talking like Kowalski and Rico, you're the most valued member of our team, and Private's feeling kind of neglected about that. He feels all he's there for is his cuteness, you know. That's what he's there for. So Skipper has him dressed in this mermaid outfit because that's what the penguins in the aquarium are dressed as, you know, putting on the show, you know. So they see Dave in this suit, you know, diver suit, you know. The trap works, you know, but when the Classified and the others in his group get there, you know, Dave snuck way through a drain, grabs all the penguins, including Private, and then they escape through the submarine. So Skipper, Kowalski, and Rico, they take the North Wind. That's the name of their organization is, the North Wind. Steals their plane upside down, you know, because they can't read instructions. They still can't read. The other agents, they try to catch up to them, you know, grappling hook, you know, and stuff like that, you know, but the penguins, they screw up, you know, and they end up losing them, you know. So they're on this lifeboat, you know. The North Wind agents, they're eating all this good food, you know, kind of like rubbing it in their faces, you know, because they screwed up because they ruined their plane, you know. But then they get the location on this island, and they're still considering who's planning to go with who, because Skipper wants to go with his plan with a diversion, and then Classified saying the same thing, but go with their diversion, you know. So they're debating whose plan they should go for, but Skipper realizes, you know, that he's not fit for the job anymore. So he tells Rico and Kowalski, "We'll follow Classified's plan," you know. Kowalski's like, "No, you're our skipper, you know. We don't need these guys, you know. You're our skipper. You can lead us, you know." But Skipper still says no. So they plan to be the diversion and distract all the octopuses, you know, dressing with the Scottish outfit, you know, like, we take this shame to our grave, you know. They're playing distraction dancing, you know, playing the accordion, you know, moving them off, you know, and their plan, the North Wind's plan, they gear up, you know, with a gash and stuff, you know. The plan to take Dave, but Dave had already planned it out, so they kidnap, you know, grab them, set a trap for them, you know. And Private and all the other penguins are all locked up in their cages. And Dave's there to explain what his plan is, which wasn't a death ray. It wasn't supposed to kill them. His death ray, which he demonstrates on this cricket, you know, it turns him into a monster. So he plans to, like, you know, if they thought I was a monster, you know, so when I turn into monsters, the people will despise you, you know, and put you guys away, you know. And Dave, keep on stuttering there, takes Private. He's gonna be the which after he demonstrates on the cricket, he's gonna be the new test subject, you know. And then Skipper, Kowalski, and Rico, they get captured as well. They got jumped by the other octopuses. So they're to see Private to be, you know, turned to a monster, but as he's powered up, they can't. Skipper was gonna get Rico to get the paperclip, to unlock the cage, but they can't get. Which earlier in the film, when they after there was in Fort Knox and when they first got captured by Dave, Rico used the paperclip to unlock the lock before, and then Private swallowed it so he could figure out he could use it. So Private now he was trying to hack it up until what you see they thought he was dead because he was deceived. There's nothing left of him, which they're like, I disintegrate him. That wasn't supposed to happen. Oh well, that's why we have more tests. So they think he's dead. And so they take him away with all the other penguins. But of course, Private, we all know Private was alive because he used the paperclip. And of course, one thing, which I thought was not, probably people think it was funny, but I didn't find it that type of funny. But when it was when Private he turns around, down here, where his shows his rear end, it's all pink there, and I don't think it was okay. I didn't need to see that though. But moving on, that's a nitpick right there, showing his what, but still, that's a nitpick. I think that was not funny though. But moving on, he takes out one octopus and he saves the North Wind agents, from being crushed into this death trap, or torture trap, whatever. So then they were planning on to go back the other way, But Private was like, well, the penguins are this way, It's like, yes, but there's a whole army of octopuses in there. We're gonna go back into headquarters and get more gear, But it's like, so it's like, but it's like Skipper doesn't care. No plan or no fancy equipment. Or not, he was still going anyways. He would still have a plan, And then it's like, oh, because he also tells him, just because you failed once, you're running away, So he goes on without them, And he just in time to see them, He's trying to shut up, but they don't hear him, And then all the penguins. They get blasted with the ray, and they return. They return back to New York, where everyone's waiting for the penguins, And Dave disguises himself as the human form of Dr. Brian, And so he lets them all out, and they're all little mutated little penguins, green and different animal parts, like Rico has like bat wings, or Skipper has like a lobster claw, And they also start attacking the people, and Dave's like, oh, something's wrong with you. Who will do? Watch this. Someone call the exterminators, So everyone starts calling the exterminators, So to round them all up, take them all out, And Private, since he's the only one, he sees, and then the door gets shut though, and all the octopuses, they start running on, but he turns around, goes one way, and takes the ray, breaks through and sees Skipper, is like, Skipper, wait, and he sees him swallow a cat, like, Skipper, it's me, Private, tries to bring it back in, and Skipper sees him, when he was a little hatchling, then shows him like having a book and bake him something, And it's like, then he returns to his mind returns to normal, And then he spits out the cat, And then he gets Kowalski, he returns to like, Kowalski, Eva's worried about you. And he's like, oh, she is, Yeah. And then Rico, he's still acts pretty much the same, So they're on top. They're on top. It's like, do poses, It's like, how long do we have to stand like this until we reach total coolness, There it is. So they plan to well, Private has a plan. He plans to use the ray to reverse the serum by, because made them, they were cute to begin with. The penguins were cute to begin with, so Private uses his own cuteness to reverse to reverse everyone, And of course, something happens. Of course, there's another joke which I think it wasn't that funny. He grows an arm and a hand out of his rear end, which said, "But a butt hand," That's what I thought was like, okay, that's another pick right there. I wouldn't see him grow, a butt hand, But other than that, though, so they plan to. He's not the one's giving them orders, the Dave sees them, but they press the button, but the control's out of battery. So Rico goes in, sees the batteries, but he gets distracted by more cheesy dibbles, which is funny that when they're at Fort Knox and they see the vending machine of cheesy dibbles, funny that like Skipper says these are the last of the cheesy dibbles, but this store sells them though, but. Who's gonna know about that, but still, he gets the batteries, he calls them up, he gets the batteries, but Dave grabs the both of them and throws them to that suction up in the thing, which also the North Wind they come back, run some more octopuses over, and we explained earlier that they're gonna walk out with an explosion right behind them, and then they get sucked in, and Sharkfeet's like, oh, so that's why we look behind us. We look at explosion behind us, But as before Skipper got sucked in, Rico had him throw a bag of cheesy dibbles, and he shoots one out of the bag. One cheesy dibble hits the remote. That's when a private gives him one punch with his butt hand, gives Dave one punch. He lands onto the tip at the end of the firing tip of the ray, and where all the snow globes are, and it spreads, the cuteness spreads to all the penguins, and they return back to normal. And all except for Private, it gets encased back into this, egg, encased into an egg, but as he hatches out again, he's, all pink, and he grows moose antlers, It's like, oh, how do I look? And then Quill's like, well, you're hideously disfigured, and you'll probably be hunted for sport, But Skipper tells him, you're the most valuable member on our team, and look what you did, you saved everyone, and everyone's applauding, but they hear something which they assume Dave is growing into a giant though, but really he's been shrunk down to a little cute octopus inside a snow globe. And the girl takes it and goes and shakes him up, And after everything, they said they plan to also before that, Eva gives Kowalski a kiss because throughout the film that Kowalski has taken a liking to Eva, so first off, how about we have a jetpack? It was Eva goes how about we kiss? Goes does this and covers and kisses, but they still want to play with the jetpacks, so they're playing with the jetpacks, they're flying, And then of course during as the credits are going, you hear as the credits at the start of the credits it stops, and then it goes back to the film in which the penguins they return back to the circus, which they use which you see Mort, he's been since he's Q2, he's been using the ray to return Private back to normal, and so as he returns back to normal, they're back at the circus, and you see that King Julian, who's not Andy Richter, who voiced Mort, still comes back, for that small role, but the guy you see King Julian there, but it's not voiced by Sacha Baron Cohen. It's the same guy who voiced King Julian in the Penguins of Madagascar TV show, And he's like, oh, I'm disappointed. There was no pizzazz. He wanted to see more. I want to see more pizzazz, which now ends with Mort swallows King Julian whole, and is like, oh, this is more like it. And King Julian keeps on saying, yeah. So overall, I enjoy Penguins of Madagascar. I definitely did put this on my top 10 list, or within my, I forget, was it top 11, I forget. But my top list of films of 2014, but I think How to Train Your Dragon 2 was still the best DreamWorks animated film of that year, besides this film and Mr. Peabody and Sherman, But the nitpicks, like I said, when they thought the Private was dead, but he was still alive, and it shows his ass crack, or when he grows a butt hand, that's a nitpick. Also, those are nitpicks. But one of the running jokes in the film I didn't think that was not that funny. With Dave, he has like names all like different names of his henchmen for his first names. He calls like by the first name and then ends with them with a sense like when they first meet Dave's like he tells one of his henchmen like Nicholas cage them. Yeah, first he tells the first name of well he says the first name of the octopus's name and it ends like the next word is like the last name of the actors, but it's not their last name. It's in a sense it's like Nicholas cage them, or Elijah, would you please take them away, or Robin, write this down, Nicholas Cage, Elijah Wood, Robin write, or Helen hunt them down, William hurt them. I had to write some of this down because I forgot what they were. Like more Hallie, bury them. Drew, bury, more power. Or Hugh, Jack, man the battle stations. And Charlize, they're on the way. They're on the ray. Charlize, they're on the ray. Or Kevin, bake on. That's a running joke that Dave keeps on saying though, which I thought that wasn't that funny. Mentioning the first names of the actors, and their last names are words in a sentence. I just didn't think that was not that funny. It's a running joke that I didn't think this wasn't that funny. So but besides that, if you get what I'm saying, if you watch the film, you get what I'm saying. Right? The first name of each actor, but their last names is not their last name. It's a word in a sentence. Nicholas caged them. William hurt them. You get what I'm saying. That's just a running joke that I just didn't think it was not that funny. But the other stuff though, other than that, other than like those the naming jokes, I didn't think it was not that funny. Other than like those two things with the private, those two things with private are just small nitpicks though. But the main issue was I just didn't think that the naming jokes were not that funny. That's the only main issue I have. The running joke was not that funny. But other than that though, the voice cast do a good job. Tom McGrath once again does good is good as Skipper. Chris Miller as Kowalski, Christopher Nines as Private, Conrad Vernon as Rico. They're the four voices of the Penguins. They were good. Benedict Cumberbatch as Classified. I thought he was good. And I'm also interested how he's gonna play the upcoming the Marvel film Doctor Strange. Interested how he does. Peter Stormare, he hasn't that much to say though in the film as Corporal, but he does fine. Ken Jeong as Short Fuse, he was all right. I'm not the biggest fan. I'm not the biggest fan of him as an actor. But probably a lot of people do like him from the Hangover films or that him in the role in Transformers 3, But I'm not the biggest fan, but he was all right as a Short Fuse, Or Annet Mahendru as Eva, she was fine, all right as well. John Malkovich, I thought he did a good job as Dave, So all the voice cast do a good job overall. They do. And this is pretty much the end of the franchise until when are they gonna plan to release the fourth Madagascar film? So this is the end of the franchise for now. But until we get a release date or try to make the fourth one, But this is like for now, But it's too bad this film did underwhelmed at the box office. It was too bad. It was a flop domestically. In the U.S. 83 million on a budget of 132 million. surprised. It was disappointed that it didn't do well in the U.S. You know, but overall worldwide, 373 million. That's pretty good. You know, for it's the latest highest grossing film in the franchise though. But compared to all the other ones, like I said, I'm not gonna repeat. I said how much the three films have made worldwide before. I'm not gonna repeat myself again. You should probably know. I already said them in the previous reviews already. You know. But overall, I did like the film. Yeah, the downside, I know, disappointing opening. You know, on its weekend debut, disappointing how much it made in the U.S. But worldwide, you know, it still made a good amount of money worldwide. Overall, 373 million is pretty good for this spin-off. The spin-off of the franchise, this featuring the Penguins. You know, did not mind the TV show. I never minded the Penguins Madagascar TV show, you know. And of course I liked how it stayed. I like how it stayed, you know, continuing after number 3, you know. So it's still continuation. It still takes place directly after number 3. Like I said before, you get they were still in the circus. You know, you see our 4 main characters, shadows, you know, as they're dancing to the song, Afro Circus. You know, even there was instances where Private was wearing one of the colored afros, you know, dancing to the song, you know. So it is directly after number 3. Overall, I enjoyed the film. So if anyone still has not seen, or is anyone a fan who is a fan of this franchise, or still hasn't seen this film alone, check it out, see what you think about it. You know, if you don't like it, that's fine. But I like the film. Because I'm glad I put it in my top list of this year, of 2014. You know. But How to Train Your Dragon 2 is still my favorite of the DreamWorks films of the year 2013, out of the 3 ones that were released last year. You know. So yeah, so that's my review for Penguins of Madagascar. So this is the end of the. Thanks for watching my reviews of the Madagascar franchise. You know, and hopefully one day when we plan to get an official release date, which they originally did, but they took it down for which I forget for the reason was. There was a policy to release 2 DreamWorks animated films per year. I forget though, but it's too bad. Now we have to wait until they get an official release date, or if they're actually going to make a 4th one now. But if it is or isn't, this will be the last film for now, or if not, it is definitely the last film of the franchise though. But hopefully, the hopes of a 4th film is still up there, you know. So just hopefully it'll happen, you know. Of course, if it does happen, I'll be sure to do a vlog about it saying it does happen, you know. But let's wait and see about it though. So it's gonna be a while, but for now, the latest one in the franchise, not the last one. I'll say the latest one in the franchise, you know. Penguins of Madagascar. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned on the next movie review. Later.